Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I am here today to share with you a back to the beginning mini album. I haven't done a mini album in so long that I decided I want to go ahead and do this one. I was going to use the paper collection 49th and Market Spice, which is like it's an autumn paper but kind of summer colors. It's very beautiful. Here's another piece. I did not realize, and I feel kind of dumb, not dumb, but annoyed with myself. There's only 8 sheets of paper in the whole collection. So I do have the collection and I have the, papers, like the solids, but there's only 8 sheets of each. And that's no way is going to cover a mini album. And also the paper is super thick. I didn't know it was this thick. Like I said, I've never worked with 49 and Market. I wish I would have played with this before I brought it with me. The paper is so thick that I don't think I can manipulate it enough for this. So I don't know. We're just gonna have to look at this mini album with nothing matted. Like I said, I didn't bring anything else because at the last second, we were told that we could not bring 3 suitcases. We could only bring 2 per person. And I had to make all my paper sacrifice because obviously paper is going to be your heaviest part. So, yeah, I was like, okay, well, let me just pick whatever the last collection is and I'll bring that with me. And it ended up being this, which all these little parts and pieces is fun. I always wanted to learn how to collage. I did this. I thought it was beautiful. I was super excited with myself and now I can't really, maybe I'll just do some collages, just to kind of increase my collage skills. So anyway, let me clean this up and then we'll go through the mini album. Okay, so now it's all cleaned up. Let me zoom in. Here we go. So just note, when I was doing the tutorial, I told you the wrong size spine, okay? Please follow the cutting guide that I put in the description box because that is correct. Sometimes I will say the wrong measurement during the tutorial just because I'm human. And actually this tutorial, I was making it up as I went along. So I was like, oh yeah, 1 inch spine is fine. It is not fine. You definitely need the thicker spine. I think it's 1.5 inch. Again, refer to the cutting guide. But that's okay. We're going to use this cover at another time because it turned out perfectly. No cracking, nothing. It is absolutely gorgeous. This one cracked because I put my hinge in too tight. But anyway, and the only other thing that is not on the video are the pockets. I decided to add pockets to the front and back cover after I turned the camera off. But you guys know how to make pockets. I'll have the measurements in the description box. Again, I'm sorry it's not matted, but when you move out of country, you gotta do what you gotta do. There are craft stores here. It's just we haven't ventured out to find them. One that was super close to me, it was closed down due to COVID. So unfortunately, that's not here anymore. And I'm not fluent enough in Spanish to join the group that they buy and sell. I'm just not comfortable. That yes, I can use Google Translate and stuff like that, but give me a couple more months and then we'll be doing that. So anyway, our first page is just a flip and a flap. And you can put your pictures. I'm gonna zoom out just a little bit. Okay. You can put your pictures on the flap. I used all scraps for this, and so feel free to use scraps. This is a 3x4 picture, so you can have your little, your collage, whatever you want. Let me see, I have another 3x4. And then you can have another full-size picture in here. Or you can do a couple of, you know, little pictures like that. Obviously, you're going to have it matted. It's going to look super good. You can put pictures on the front and the back. So see how you can tell that story? And even continue on. Keep telling your story. Loads and loads of possibilities, real estate for pictures. Excuse me. On the back page, we have room for a large picture or journaling. We have 2 flips and flats. Let me see if it'll fit. This is a 4x6, and so it's a little bit tight. The book is 6x6, the chipboard is, and the pages are 5 and 5/8 by 5 and 5/8. So this one, you just cut it down slightly. You can have your large pictures. You can have your little picture, you know, however you want to do it. Have your pictures in there. Tell that story. Yes, that's my favorite picture of me in Paddington. All right, so we're going to close that, close that. The next page, this one, you could do a super cool closure, maybe with some magnets or some string or a brad and a twist, a sticker, whatever you want. So this pops up and this pops down. Again, you can fit your pictures. These would be great for your horizontal pictures. Let's see if I have any horizontal pictures. Put your horizontal picture here, a vertical picture here, and 2 little random pictures down at the bottom. Like so. Perfect, right? So these are 3x5s, 3x4s, 2x3s, 4x6. A lot of real estate. You're going to flip over and you have waterfalls. So 3 waterfalls. You can get 6 full-size pictures out of that, front and back, or you can collage, you know, whatever your theme is. Mix and match, overlap, it's okay. So there's 3 here, and then when you're done, you still have this big, large space for more pictures. And we did the same on this side. You have your 3 there. Okay. Then on the back, you're going to flip. You can add magnets to keep this closed, but we have a mini waterfall on top of our flip. Okay, and you have room for your full picture here and your other pictures here. Again, overlap, play with the sizes, like so. Super cute, right? Okay, those fold down, and then here's your back cover. Room for you can put whatever you want in this pocket. So super fun album. The tutorial is a little bit over an hour. I typically don't like hour tutorials because I am a lazy crafter, but I wanted to make sure that every skill level was able to make this back to beginner album. And so I do have the wrapping of the cover. I have the hinge. So for my advanced crafters, fast forward through the stuff that you already know how to do. You know, obviously I won't be offended because I don't know that you're fast forwarding. So just go through the tutorial. Hopefully for my beginners, it's slow enough that you can do it. Yeah. All right, guys, here's the tutorial. Okay, so here's the tutorial. What you want to do is take your paper, and I'm using 12 by 12 paper, so it'll be easier. I cut it down 12 by 5 and 5/8, excuse me, 5 and 7/8. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to score my paper on the long side at 5 and 7/8. Go ahead and fold that, and then cut this piece down to 5 and 7/8. Not, you know, make sure the fold is not in your cutting board, but that just is a little trick to make it easier when you're doing with these 1/8 of an inch markings. You could go ahead and cut your paper down to, let's see, 11 and, well, we could do that. 11 3/4 by 5 7/8. So it doesn't matter which way, how you do it. By 5 7/8. That's just kind of how I figure out what page size I want. You know, you're going to have your own way of doing your books. So I want 3 pages. Yeah, just 3. Let's see if I have a scrap I can use. Nope. Alright. And your mini albums do not have to have a ton of items in there. You know, it's your book, however you want it. So 11 3/4. Oh wait, I'm gonna do it the other way first. 5 7/8. By 11 3/4. And then score it at 5 7/8. I probably should be writing this down so I don't have to rewatch this video. Okay, so we're going to use this other piece to go ahead and make our binding mechanism. So I'm going to cut this paper down. This is the other piece of my 12 by 12 paper. So I'm going to cut this down to 5 7/8 by 12. We're not going to need the whole piece, but I don't want to cut it too short and then you won't have it. All right, so I'm going to score it at 1 1/4, and then 1 3/4, and then 2 1/4, and then 2 3/4, and then 3 1/4. So it's 1 gusset, 3 3/4, 4 1/4, 4 3/4. So that's 1 space, 2 space, 1 more, 5 1/4. All the correct measurements are in the description box. And then I want to leave 1 1/2 inches or 1 1/4 inches from that. So take my ruler, 1 1/4 would be right here. So your last score mark would be 6 1/2. Or that's actually where you're going to cut it. You're going to cut at 6 1/2. Okay. I just like to have some wings on either side so it fits over my spine. Okay. Now you're going to pull out your score tape. I like to use the 3/8 inch score tape. And we're going to go on the back of what you just scored. And you're going to put tape on in between the first and second score line, and then on the 1 2 3, that's going to be those two. Leave that. This one here. You're going to skip 2, put 1 there, skip 2 and put 1 there. Okay, like so. And then what you're going to do is go ahead and flip it back over, and let's go ahead and start folding. So your first piece is going to be a valley fold. So I just fold up like so. Your next piece is going to be a mountain fold, and then a valley. So here's your first hinge, okay? And then next you need another valley, a mountain. So for me, it's easier just to do it like this. Let me zoom in just a little bit. Okay. And for some people, the reason why I had you put the tape first, for some people it's easier to see, you know, how to do it with the tape. Some people it confuses, but basically you need to end up with 3 humps and 2 gussets like this, okay? And if you put your tape on how I told you, it should look like this. What you're going to do is you're going to flatten it out, take off your backing, make sure you don't have any overhang, tape it in. Peel this off, overhang, you're going to tape it to this piece here. Peel this off and tape it in. If you, oh, I forgot overhang. And I have a lot of it too. I need to cut that off. If you need a much slower tutorial on how to make the hinge, I advise you to go to, what is this, YouTube. I have a ton of tutorials with a slower hinge. A lot of people have it. So there you go. All right, so there's our 3. I'm going to go ahead and tape mine up because I just like to tape mine up at this stage. You will have your own preferences on when you tape, when you don't tape. So I'm going to go ahead and just tape this up. I'm just going to show you one piece on camera and then I'll do the rest off camera. Okay, just tape it up. This is my 1-inch tape. You can use any tape you have. Some people prefer glue. I prefer tape, so I'm going to use tape. Okay, so the back of mine's all taped up. And I like to go ahead and really just work my hinges back and forth so that way it's easier to move your pages. Now, I prefer Kathy King's Paper Phenomena. I prefer her Hidden Hinge Plus method, but I don't have the license to teach that, nor do I want to teach it. It's very easy, but it's very easy to do, but kind of hard to explain. So I will let her, the expert, do it. All right, so now I'm just putting tape on both sides of my hinges as close to the top as I can get. Making sure you are getting that good burnish. And now you're going to repeat with the tape on the other side. Okay, so there you have it. There's tape on those, all 6 sides, right? All right, so go ahead and put that to the side. And let's go ahead and work on our pages. So I'm going to go ahead and fold and score our pages. And your pages are going to be your preference again. And I know if you're just beginning, you're like, I don't have a preference. You will eventually have a preference as to how you make your pages, what you start with first. I prefer to start with picking my page side, cutting it to the pages like this, and then doing my binding system, and then doing all the flips and flops or whatever. Some people like to do it in different ways. Some people like to decorate their pages first before they put it on. Some people like to do their covers first. It's really your preference of what order you want to put together your book. So what I'm going to do, I think, is, first of all, I'm going to cut off these raggedy edges where my blade probably needs to be changed. See all these little, it's just raggedy edges. All right, now that that's over, our pages are going to hook in like so. Okay, just like that into your spine. So here's another preference part of it. You can put tape down here and have the top open so you can make it into a pocket page, or you could completely seal it and just have it as a page. I like to make my pocket pages, and I like to use I like to use glue because it's completely sealed, but sometimes like it's a little hard when you're trying to put it on the spine, because if you forget to leave this piece open, you know, then it's going to be hard. So we're just going to go ahead and use our 1/8 of an inch score tape, which I was not prepared for. Okay. So I'm just going to I like to put my fold in the middle, and on the left hand side on the bottom, just go ahead and run you some 1/8 of an inch score tape. You can do 1/4 of an inch, but that just kind of takes away from your real estate in your book. Same thing on all three. Now we're going to have pocket pages. And you can keep your pocket page as simple or as fancy as you want it. I have seen people actually cut into their pocket page like a little triangle pocket or stuff like that. I'm not that brave. So, all right, let's put this away. 2 pages away, we'll keep the one. I'm not going to close that now. I will wait to close that. So now you get to determine your flips and your flaps and your interaction. Now, if you want to keep it simple, keep it simple. If you want a lot of flips and flaps, you know, you have this 1/2 inch gusset. It will allow you to do a lot, but just remember you need to put pictures in here as well. So you want to kind of be mindful of that. So our first page, I have all these scraps. Then I'm going to pull out these scraps and we're going to use scraps. So my scraps are going to determine what we're going to do. Let's do this. So this scrap is 5.5 by, let's just make this an even 4.5. Okay, so five and a half by 4.5, and we're going to score it on the long side at 1/2 inch. I'm going to write this down. So this is page 1. 5.5 by 4.5, scored on the long side at 1/2 inch. And we're going to put the tape on the dented side. And you see here, I am not going to overthink this book. I'm just going to place these things down, and where the cards fall, that's where they fall. Okay? Okay, make sure my opening is to the left, and I want this to be in the middle here, right here on the side, okay? I don't have undo here, so literally wherever this goes, this goes. Now I have to work on from the bottom, so I have to rotate my book. But this is actually on the right side, roughly in the middle. You can measure it out if you want to, but I'm just gonna eyeball it and not overthink it. Right there, right up to the edge. Okay. So now we have a little flap. I want to add some more, so let's find some more scraps. Okay, here's our little 2 little scraps. Actually 3, but we're only going to use 2. This is 4 1/4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch on the long side. Okay. I'm going to put tape on that. And we're going to put this, yep. We're going to put this to the top left. So again, I'm going to rotate my book upside down. And I'm going to put it right here. Okay. So now we have this fun little flap where you're going to be able to see pattern paper on both sides, right? Okay. You can continue to add if you want, but you know what? I think that's fine for that. I'm just going to leave that as is. Okay, let's flip it over and work on page 2. Again, this is a simple back to basics mini album, so we're not going to overthink it. We're not going to put too much stuff. We're going to use our scraps. This one, I want a big flip on this one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this paper is, I'll tell you in just a second. Okay, when I figure it out. So 1 3 5, so 5 3/4, so 6 1/4. Okay, so I cut this paper down 6 1/4 by 5 1/2, scored at 1/2 inch on the long side. Tape. On the dented side, fold it in. And tape on the dented versus bumpy. When you cut your paper and you score it, there is a little dented side. Hold on, let me zoom all the way in. Okay, let's see if it will focus. So see, you can clearly see a bump. This is the bumpy side. And then the dented side, you can barely see it. That's how you know what side to put your tape. Doesn't matter. I used to oh, okay, there we go. Before, when I made these, I didn't care which side it went on. It does cut down on the bolt. But if you put it on the wrong side, you're just going to fold your paper to where it needs to go and you're fine. It's not going to be a tragedy. All right, so I'm gonna make sure that my paper, okay, so it's gonna be this way and flip over, and I want my flip. Okay, make sure there's no overhang. See how my tape is over? You don't want that. I want my flip to open this way. Okay, so this is how you keep yourself straight. Your glue piece is always going to be your bottom and your opening is going to be to the left. This is why some people like to put it on their hinge first so they know exactly what they're doing. So I'm going to flip over and I want mine to be here on the left side. And so I'm going to rotate my book to where the left side is on the bottom and put my tag in there. Sorry if that's confusing to you, but that's the only way I can do. I have to work from the bottom. Okay, put it right there. Mine's a little crooked, but that's okay. So now on this side, we have a big old flip that goes there. And I kind of want, what do I want in here? I think I want another flip to go on that side. So I'm going to do the same measurement. So 6 1/4 by 5 1/2. I gotta find another scrap. Here we go. Nope. Let me find a scrap. Okay, so 6 1/4. Score it 1/2 inch on the long side by 5 1/2. And tape. And I don't know if I'm going to love this or not, but we're going to find out. I do. Okay, so we're going to have a full flap on the left and the right of this page. So I'm going to make sure it's lined up. So why is this so different? What did I do wrong here? I mismeasured. That's what I did. It's 5 3/4. So that's okay. Let's do, you know what? I like that. Okay. So see, if you mismeasure, who cares? What I'm going to do is line this up and put this here so you're going to have your paper peeping out. It's going to be great. Don't worry. Alright, so let's mark this because I want it to be kind of in the middle here. So I'm going to mark my side. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Close this and mark my sides. So I know where I put it on this paper. And then it should match. I can't see because of these shadows. Okay. And we're going to get in here in the middle somehow. And I just pressed down one side just so I can make sure this is where the placement I want it to be. And that's exactly where I want it to be. Okay, so this page here was 6 1/4 by 5 1/2. Scored on the long side at 1/2. So this other page was not 5 1/2. This was 5 3/4. So if you did both of your pages at 5 1/2, then you're good. It doesn't matter. Or if you followed the cutting guide, then your book is going to look like this because I'm writing the measurements down as I go. And so your cutting guide is going to be what my final thing says, not exactly what I say first, if you just saw that. Okay, so I think that's all we need. So far our book looks like this. You're gonna turn it this way. And you got 2 flips. That's perfect. Okay, let's go on to our next page. Okay, so here's our, let me move that out the frame. Here is our next page, our opening to the left, our score tape to the bottom. And let's see what we want, because this page flips in like that. We can do an up and down flip if we want, or we can do whatever this is going to be. Yep, okay. So the measurement of these 2 pieces are, okay, these are going to be 5 and 5/8 is my page measurement. So 5 and 5/8 by 4 3/4. And on the short side, I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch. No. Yes. 1/2 inch on the short side. Okay. We're going to go ahead and put tape on those. Let's move this page out of the way. We're working on this one. Tape on either one of these. And tape on this one. And I'm going to put one on the top and one on the bottom. There's going to be a gap. And I'm thinking we can turn that into some type of fun closure or a fun photo collage type thing with the paper. So, actually there's not going to be a gap, is there? No, there's not going to be. Okay. Alright, so on the bottom, make sure there's no overhang. Line up my paper. Center it as best as you can. My book is not lined up correctly. There we go. Alright, so center it. With this measurement, you're going to have like 1/8 of an inch on either side. If you want a bigger border, make it smaller. Okay, and I did not make that even. Oh, you know what? My paper's cut all wonky right there, but that's okay. When you put your pattern paper on, no one's going to notice. I'm rotating my book. I'm lining them up. And putting that, oops, there. Okay. So now our page has a flap. We're probably going to do something with these corners because my paper is not even because I'm using scraps, and so it's not cut exactly perfect. And I'm not caring about that because, again, when you put your pattern paper on, it's going to look different. Okay, no one's going to notice that little discrepancy. Okay, so now we have a flip up, we have a flip down, and we have what? I don't know if I like that. I don't like the border, but I think it's gonna look fine. It'll be fine. Yeah. Okay. I think that's all we kind of need on this one. You could add a pocket in the middle if you want to, but I don't want to do a pocket. I'm just gonna leave it room for photos. Okay, so let's flip over to page 4. Okay, grab some more scraps. Okay, so I had to go eat lunch. What I did though is I took a craft knife and I evened up my paper because, like I said, those scraps were not even. Okay, so we are on to page 4. Okay, so we're on to page 4. All right, let's grab whatever this measurement is, and let's grab, actually no, those two. And this is, let's see, 5 1/4. Yep. So these are 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. I can make this one 5 1/4. It's slightly bigger. Okay, and then I'm just going to score it 1/2 inch on one side on both of them. I'm hoping this makes a waterfall because I love a waterfall, but I don't know yet. Okay, tape. And sometimes I'll cut the tape with, you know, a straight edge thing with the ruler with my fingers. It's terrible tape. Not terrible like horrible, but you can tear it. But I like a smooth edge as opposed to like this one has all raggedy. But it just depends on what I feel. Okay, and okay, and now the opening is to the right, score tape's on the bottom. I'm gonna work from the top, but I turned my book upside down because that's how I work. So I'm gonna put this right here. Okay. I'm gonna take that second piece, take the backing off, make sure there's no overhang, flip this, and stick it right up against that thing. Okay. So, oh, I can do one more. So 3 pieces of 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. Score it at 1/2 inch on one side. Taped. Yes, I have tape all over the desk. I have like 3 open rolls of 3/8 inch because I like to just throw them. And I just grab whichever one I see first. Okay, and I'm gonna add this third one right here. Okay, so we have a waterfall. It's a little crooked. How did I manage that? Well, it is what it is because I don't have any undo to undo it and I don't want to rip my paper up. So it is what it is. So I'm going to write down these measurements. Okay, so that page is done. Now on to our final base page. Opening to the left, score tape to the bottom. All right, so now our book is going to look like this. So we could do another waterfall if we want and just have those last couple be waterfalls. I love a waterfall. Oh, you guys can't even see what I see. How about I put it in camera? Let's do You know what? Let's go ahead and let's do the same thing. Maybe. Is this 4 1/4? Yeah, 4 1/4. Nope, let's do the same exact thing. So you're gonna need 3 more pieces at 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, scored at 1/2 inch on one side. Waterfalls give you the most room for pictures. So you add a waterfall to any book and you just add it that many pictures. Okay. And I'm going to score on the raggedy side so you can't see it in the book. So half, and one more piece, 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, scored at 1/2 on one side. All right, tape them up and waterfall them on. And you could do all of your pages in waterfalls if you want to. That will give you a ton of real estate for your pictures. Just like I have a million rolls of tape, I have a million of these squeegee things. They all just sit in a basket to my right, so I can easily grab them, because 9 times out of 10, I leave them and I can't find them. Even though this one was right here in my face, I couldn't see. All right, so waterfall again. Hopefully this time I don't put it in crooked. And whenever you put your waterfall on crooked, if you have undo, you can just literally undo it. Like you put the undo, UNDU, over the cardstock, and it makes it so you can lift the tape. But if you don't have undo and your waterfall is not the best, just put like a super busy piece of the paper, and people won't know if it's the paper or their eyes that are crooked. So I literally just ripped that one all off because I don't know what I did there. It was really bad. So this is what happens when you have to rip your paper off and you don't have undo or anything else. I just saw that Kathy had a video about acetone, so maybe that will take it off, but I haven't had a chance to watch it. And I know some people said lighter fluid would do the same thing, but I haven't been able to find lighter fluid here either. But there was some acetone, so yeah, we'll see if that works. Okay. And this is all going to be covered with paper anyway, so it doesn't matter. All right, take the backing off my second one, make sure there's no overhang, and put it here. I'm trying to keep this video short, but it's going to probably be an hour. I don't particularly care for tutorials that are an hour long, but it is what it is. We're moving quickly with this one. Okay, so perfect. All right, so we have our 2 waterfalls, and so that is it for that page. And if you want to make it different than the previous page, you can always add more flaps underneath here, like a little hidden flap, or a waterfall for smaller pictures. You know, you can add, right? All right, so the last page on the back, so page number 6. I don't want to cut into another piece of paper, so I'm trying to use what I have here. Let's see what we got. Let's do, let's do this one. So this one is going to be, let's see. Okay, this one's going to be 6 3/8 by 5 1/4. So I did mark the 6 3/8 with a pencil because I'm not going to fight with this thing to determine where in the crack lies my 6 3/8 over here by my pinky. I'm not going to know. So I marked it with a pencil. And then on the long side, we're going to score it at 1/2 inch. Okay. And then we're going to cut 2 pieces that measure 5 1/4 by 4 1/4, and we're going to score it at 1/2 inch on the long side. Come on. Okay. So mine are already cut because those were scrap pieces. So on the long side, 1/2 and 1/2. So if you already have your book cut out, you know, the pages already scored, cut, and tape, your book won't take an hour to make. Okay, and here we go. Now I have no idea what I'm going to do with these two, but we're going to figure it out. Okay. And the third one. Okay. So as I'm scoring these, I'm thinking what I want to do with all of them, because the options are endless. Okay, let me go turn that other light off and see if that stops some of the glare. Okay, that's better. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to cut this down a little bit more. Or did I have it going this way? Nope, I definitely had it this way. So let's change that measurement. And again, your measurements will be correct in the description box. But if you're like me, you're just following along as I say the measurements, and if they're wrong, they're wrong. So this is going to be, I think 6. You can do 6 1/4. Mine's 6 1/8, but I'm going to write 6 1/4. Okay. All right. And then, can I get away with this? Put that there. Let's see. If I can put a waterfall on top of a flip. What? I think we can. Okay. Let me cut these raggedy sides. All right. And I'm going to attach my larger flap to the right hand side. And I'm flipping my book like so. And I'm going to put it in the middle as best as I can. And, or you can put it all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom. It's your book. Do what you want. Okay. Where's my opening? Okay. And then I'm gonna take the backing off, make sure there's no overhang. Okay, so that's the bottom. I'm gonna rotate my book to put this on the top and in the middle. Now I can't see without that overhead light. I gotta get this lighting situation sorted out. Okay, and I'm gonna put the next one right underneath that one. And make sure that looks good. Oh, why am I crooked again? I sure am. My whole thing is crooked. Okay, fine, whatever. It's crooked. I can't see. I don't have enough light. Okay, just put yours on straight. All right, and that is the end of our pages. So I'm gonna have to turn that overhead light back on because I can't see. Okay. All right, let's pull in our... Now, this is your preference again. When you have your hinge, some people like to put their pages on their hinge before they put it in their book. I don't remember what my preference is because I've been doing folios, a lot of folios. So I honestly don't remember how I do these. I think I'm going to do the covers and put the spine in the covers first and then put the pages on. I honestly don't remember what my preference is. Okay, let's pull out, let's do our covers. You're going to need 2 pieces of chipboard that measures 6 by 6. And I'm trying to think of what size I want our spine. Because our pages are not that thick. Usually you measure your pages, but our pages are not that thick. So let's just do a 1-inch spine because that'll give you plenty of room to add your pictures. Because right now we're sitting at not even a 1/2 inch yet. So let's just do a 1-inch spine. So I have my chipboard blade. Somewhere. And a chipboard blade is just a regular paper trimmer blade that is too dull to cut paper, but it's still sharp enough to cut through chipboard, believe it or not. Oh, here it is. And I just mark mine, I just put chip. You can't really see, it's kind of fading out. I just put chip on mine so I know that it's chipboard. And I just add it right on top here. All right, so we need our chipboard to be 6 by 6. And here we go. So 6. Now, if I was at my house or had all my stuff, I have a guillotine cutter, but I don't here, so I gotta use my chipboard blade. So 6 by 6. I just flipped it over. Okay. And 6. Flip it over and 6. Okay. Make sure they line up. Take off any of these little whatevers. And then by 1 inch, 6 by 1. Cool. already know that us putting our chipboard together, it's already bigger than a 12 by 12. So we're gonna need to put together 2 pieces of paper. I'm gonna cut my paper down to 7, 8, 8 by 12. So you need 2 pieces of 8 by 12. And that gives me 1 inch on the top and bottom to start my wrapping. I was going to go ahead and do this in tape, but back to basics is, this is the basics. Alright, so on one sheet of my 8 by 12, I'm going to go ahead and score it at 1 inch on 3 sides. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. And on my other piece, I'm only going to score it at 1 inch on the short sides. So 1 inch on the top and bottom, basically. And 1 inch, because we're not going to use this whole length of this paper, so. Okay. Now what we're going to do is take our tape. I'm just going to use my 3/8 inch of tape. And on the piece where we did not score 3 sides, I'm going to put this 1/8 of an inch here. Some people like to use 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. I'm just using 3/8. Okay. Okay, now the side, the piece that has the score mark here, that's going to be on your left, and you're going to attach it on the right. Make sure your dented side is with your dented side. So I'm just going to attach it at the 3/8 of an inch. Line it up. Hopefully I put my score tape on straight. There you go. Okay, now I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to take one of my pieces of 6 by 6 chipboard, and I'm going to, you can glue or tape, it doesn't matter, but you're going to use your score marks as your guide to put that piece there. I'm going to use glue. Now, I watch a lot of Rosa Kelly, and she uses a little bit of glue, and her stuff is immaculate, top-notch, you know, elite scrapbooking. So don't be afraid to do what's comfortable. If a lot of glue is comfortable to you, use that. If a little bit of glue is comfortable, do that. A lot of glue is comfortable to me. But I'm thinking about copying her, Rosa Kelly, and only using a little bit. Because clearly that's all you need. Alright, so there's that. Alright, so making sure that's on there, let it dry. Okay. Now we need to put our spine on. Okay, this is where a lot of people disagree in the scrapbook world. Some people say you need 1/8 of an inch. Some people say you need 1/4 of an inch. I don't know what's right or what's wrong. I usually just eyeball it and do what I want. So, but I know that doesn't make for a good tutorial. So in this case, we are going to You know what? Let's use our 1/8 of an inch tape, score tape. And see right like that. No, 1/8 of an inch is not enough for me, but 1/4 of an inch is too much. So what I'm gonna do, now I'm remembering what I do. Let me peel the backing off that. I'm gonna overlap my 1/8 of an inch, so it's not a 1/4 of an inch, but it's a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch. Okay, there we go. So I don't know what this measurement is, but it's not quite 1/4 of an inch. It's more than 1/8 of an inch. Okay. And it's probably not even straight. Yeah, it's good enough. Okay. All right, so let me do the other side. And to be honest, I'm not sure if I did that in frame. I'm sorry. Oh, and here's the other part that was an argument. Do you put your spine on the crease, or do you just do like I did and let that be on the back? That is your preference. I don't mind my seam being on the back of, I prefer it to be on the back of my book. But I used to put it in the middle and then cut. That's just too much work. All right, so I'm going to show you this with a 1/4 inch score tape so you can see the difference. All right, it don't matter that goes all the way up. So see how big of a space that 1/4 of an inch is? I think it's too much. That's why I do like a little bit more than 1/8, but less than that piece rolled up, less than 1/4. Okay. I'm sorry, I don't know what that measurement is. All right, so using my score marks as a guide, and hopefully this is even. Making sure my chipboard pieces line up. And there we go. But guess what I forgot? I forgot to add some adhesive. I got all excited about showing y'all that 1/4 of an inch. I didn't even put any glue or anything. Oh gosh, that was a nightmare. That was a mess. No, I'm not going to use my finger and wipe that off and use it somewhere else like normal people would. Okay, so while that's drying, because I went crazy with the glue, you're going to cut off everything excess except for about 1 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and do that while that glue dries. Okay, so I got these nifty little things from Amazon. I had got them for, I think, my birthday. And it's just how far do you want the paper from your corner. This one's a 2mm corner thing. This is just going to tell me where to miter. Now, you don't have to have these fancy little edges. You can just take your ruler and make sure there's at least 1/8 of an inch between your ruler and your chipboard and do like that. It's up to you. You just need to leave enough paper to cover that corner. If you cut off too much, then your corner is going to be exposed, which is not a big deal. You can always add paper, or you can just color it in with a Sharpie. That's how we started buying black chipboard. And so if you didn't cover it correctly, no one could tell. I think this is the first time I've used those. So actually, before I do that, I am going to add my tape, 1 inch tape. I'm going to add it to my border paper. No, I'm gonna add it. Where do I normally add it? I'm not using 1 inch. That's gonna be too precise. I use 3/8. I haven't done a wrapped mini in so long. All right, so I'm gonna put it here in the perimeter. This is all where Rosa Kelly puts hers on the perimeter. I still have to do it like this, perimeter and chipboard. I know it's overdoing it. You do not need this much tape. If you do it just on the perimeter, you're fine. But I don't know. I feel more comfortable with too much than not enough. Okay, where did I? So whatever your comfort level is, do your comfort level. Don't let anyone tell you how to do your comfort level, your project. Okay. Here we go. And here we go. Okay. Dang, we're over an hour. That's okay. For those of you who already know how to do this part, you just fast forward through it. All right. Make sure all of your tape is adhered down. Here we go. And here we go. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and miter my sides. And you're just cutting out the X. Or if you drew your lines, you're cutting out your lines, your diagonals. I like to start with long side first on the bottom. So what I'm gonna do is start pressing this paper up, taking my bone folder. You're never going to have it exact on where you had that's your original score mark. That was just a guide. And sometimes you will be able to see that score mark on the front of your book, but it's not going to be that big of a deal. All right. I'm going to go ahead and take off those three backings. Wet glue in this crease. This prevents cracking. You don't need that much of it. And up and down. Pull it tight. We trained our paper to prevent cracking. Now, at your seam, you're probably going to have cracking. I don't think I've ever made a book that didn't crack right there at the seam. All you do is take a little piece of glue and press it in. That's all you need to do. And the crack is gone. Okay? All right. Get your bone folder in there. And then I did the long sides first and then the short sides. So again, we're going to train our paper, put some score marks in here, kind of score this around. Take that backing and that backing, glue. Okay. Pull and glue. Okay. That's it. Okay. Pull and glue. Now we're down to our smaller sides. You're going to take your bone folder, whatever, you're going to tuck in that corner, smush it in on both sides, just so it's tucked and wrapped. Backing. Oh, I forgot to train. That's fine. Glue and down. Making sure you get those corners down and glued in there. Okay. All right. Other side. Train. Oh, I forgot I took the backing off already of that piece. Okay, well, that was not getting glue, which is fine. It was ready to go. And I didn't push in my corners, but I have to just push them in now because I forgot I took that backing off the perimeter of the chipboard. Oh my gosh, this is one of the best covering jobs I have ever done in my life. That is awesome. All right, my book is done. My seam is on the back, which is fine because I'm going to cover that with paper anyway. Or if you want that to be on the front, you can do a super cool color blocking with that. You need to decide that because that'll determine where you put your, well, right now it doesn't matter because we're just putting our spine in, but where's my spine? Okay. So your spine needs to be lined up. I didn't think this through, did I? Gosh darn it. My spine needs to be 1.5 inches. Because that's exactly 1 inch on my gussets. And my pages are not going to turn. Okay. Gosh, and I did such a great wrapping job. Okay, so your chipboard piece needs to be 1.5 inches. I will tell you that in the beginning of the tutorial, so that way you know. Dang it. That was such a beautiful wrap job too. Okay, well, don't want it to be, because that's exactly 1 inch and then 1.5. I forgot about that. So at this point you can do one of two things. You can redo the covers and do 1.5 inch spine, or what you can do is redo your hinge and only have 2 hinges, and so you only have 2 base pages as opposed to 3, and use your 3rd base page to make another book. You could totally do that. I'm gonna go ahead and hit pause and redo this part. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so I am back. For you guys, it was a half a second. For me, it was 10 minutes because I redid mine with the 1.5 inch spine. This is why you always want to follow your cutting guide, because when I do my videos, I do the tutorial first. I make this up as I go along, and then the first video that's like, hey guys, welcome to my channel, I do that second. So that way I only have one book. Now, some of my videos I will make up the book when I'm not recording, and then when I do the tutorial, you'll see I'll have 2 books, one that's completely decorated, and then one that we make together. But I don't have enough paper to do that here, so I have to do it this way. And I don't need 2 books. All right, so we're taking our hinges and we're going to lay this here, and what we're doing is making sure that our 3 hinges are kind of centered in our spine. So there's many different ways you can do this. I just kind of make like a little mark at where the end of my chipboard is, it's easier to see on, you know, when you have a pencil mark on black paper. So that way I can just kind of center it and then draw a line where I want these to be. This is the way Kathy does it too. Okay. So now I just know where I want to put my hinge. I'm sure Kathy is the reason why I do it that way. Or maybe Kimmy. I know Kathy definitely still does that. But whoever taught me that, that's how I did it. Sometimes you can just eyeball it. Sometimes, like right now, I am a little flustered because of my oopsie daisy. So now I need to draw lines. I can't just eyeball it because I'm flustered. All right, so make sure there's no overhang. And I'm just gonna go back where my lines were. And put it as straight and in the center as I can. Okay. My lines should meet up, and they do. Okay, I kind of put it a little too far to the bottom, but I'm okay with that. And now I'm just gonna go in and with my bond folder and make sure my book can close. Because I think I pulled it too tight. You don't want your spine to be tight. So you want your flaps to be, I cracked my book because I put this in too tight. I pulled my paper. You're not supposed to pull your paper. And I don't think I can pull this up. Okay. You do not want this to lay tight. So just gently, I did gently push it down. That's why I was able to pull it up so easily because I didn't go over it. I think I'm okay now. When you do it too tight, that's what happens. You crack your book. That's okay. We can fix that crack. It's fine. Did I do this one gently? I did. Okay. When you don't varnish your paper, it comes up easily. Okay, and then gently get it in there and varnish. I don't know why I pulled it up because I had already cracked my book. Which again, we're just gonna fix our cracks. Wet glue, any wet glue will do. This is the grossest part. I don't like touching glue, wet glue and stuff like that. Okay. There's argument too that if your chipboard pieces are too close together, that's why your spine cracks. But I have done it with the 1/4 inch and my spines have cracked as well. So I don't know. Sometimes your spines just crack. And I'm pretty sure it's because when you put your hinges in too tight. All right, so we gotta let that dry because of my crackage. So hold on. Okay, and now you're gonna decide if you want your seam on the front, so you can do that cool color blocking, or if you want your seam on the back, because that is going to be the way you put your pages. For me right now, I'm just gonna make that the back of my book because I don't know what color blocking, I don't have a paper collection. So, okay, let's take our book pages, our base pages. I like to start with the last page. You can start with what you want. Again, there's several different methods to do this. I'm gonna pull my tape down, but not all the way because I still gotta get it on this page, okay? So, all right. It has been so long since I've done this. Okay. You don't want your base page to go all the way down to the bottom. That's why we put our tape as closest to the top as we could, because we don't want our base page to interfere with the score line so you could go back and forth, right? All right, forget it. You know what? We're going for it. I thought I had a glue stick. Let me find a glue stick. Okay, glue stick, regular Elmer's glue stick. If you rub that on your score tape, it makes it waxy, so you have some wiggle room. All right, you know what? I'm going for it. Okay. All right, we're not gonna overthink it today. We're just gonna get this on, and life is gonna be great. I can't see because of my lighting, but you know what? We're just going for it. And it turned out perfectly, I think. I hope. It did. Perfect. So if you needed to move your book, your back page, you still have that little bit of wiggle room because we put that glue stick, that you can fix it. But I don't need to do mine. Okay. Make sure there's no overhang. And here we go. I'm going to take this off, gluing down all but that much so I can put it on this hinge. And I'm going to, I can't see. There's all different ways you can put your pages on. This is another method, just to do the back. And then fold everything over. I forgot about this method. I think this was a method that I ended up liking the most. Okay, and then your last page. Take off the back. Give us some wiggle room. And here we go. Take that off. Lay this on there. Oops. Okay, take that off and glue that down. Okay. Oh gosh, now I'm out of breath. So our book is done and our pages are laying nice and flat. You can add magnets to keep things closed, whatever you want, however you want to decorate this. I don't know if I'm going to decorate this or not, because like I said, I only have one paper collection, so I don't know how I'm going to use it, but the book is done. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Bye.